So all believers are mandated to preach the word of God. But there's one thing that is needful when you are going to preach. You have to ask yourself, am I mature? Do I know the word of God? For you to be able to preach the word of God or preach Christ, you have to know Christ that is written in the word. Because a lot of believers are instructed by the devil, the Antichrist, to go and preach. They don't have a message. They only hear a voice and tell them, or a voice who has commanded them to go and preach. As a result, they preach heresy. They believe heresy. They just do anything, anyhow. So they don't really know what they are preaching. But if you are getting the leading to go and preach, it means you are matured. You have to be able to tell yourself the truth. If you are matured, you preach the gospel. Because if you are not mature, you will do more damage than good. This is what it is. Like I said, if you are matured, the need to preach will come from within. Because the more of the word of God you have in you, is the more of the way you begin to talk the word. Even when you are not preaching to people, as you relate with people, people around you will know that you are a Christian, because your language, your communication will be different, because you are now filled with the word of God. This is what it is. So when you are not even preaching, your conversation is preaching. Your way of living is preaching. Your belief is preaching. So Christianity is actually a lifestyle, because you now have the nature of God, and the nature of God is not in you. As you are living the life of Christ, is evident to all. As you begin to live the life of Christ, it will become obvious to people around you. So this is where it is. You will carry power. You will talk with audacity. You will talk with authority. But if you don't know the word of God and you are going to preach, you will do more damage than good. And there is Antichrist, like I said, now calling people to preach. If Satan is leading you to preach, give you some sense of urgency. If Satan is leading, go now. He pushes you with a sense of urgency to preach. Jesus, before he sent out his disciple, he endued them with knowledge, teach them. When they are out to preach, and he used parable, when they are back, or when they come back, his disciples will always ask him, what is the meaning of that parable? He explained to them. So this is what it is. So if you are being led, if you say you are led, or you are having the feeling to go and preach, ask yourself if you are rooted in the word of God. Because Satan can be pushing you to go and preach. Because if you are matured enough, you need nobody to tell you to go and preach or to go and open a church. A church is not a building. A church is people that have the mind of Christ. So if you don't know the Bible, you are going out to preach, you'll be doing more harm than good. You will believe any spirit that is talking to you and say it's Christ. Satan is very subtle. He uses your emotion, your feelings, your intuition to speak to you. He uses people around you. He manipulates things. But when you are rooted in the word, when Satan is manipulating, you will know. You will know immediately and say, no, this is the devil. Because these last days, Satan is speaking to men using this still small voice. They think they are hearing God, but it's not God. Men who teach the Bible now these days, or pastors, let me call them, they rely on the voices they hear in their head than the written word. So if you are hearing a voice and say, go and preach, go and teach, or in a dream, and you look inside you, you're not mature, you don't know the word, that is the voice of the devil, it's Satan. And he give you a sense of urgency and say, go, 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 go. It's not God. Because you know you are not mature to go and contradict, to preach heresy, to cause more confusion in the world. There has been a generational ignorance in Christianity, ignorance that is passed from one generation to another. So if you don't know the word you're going to preach, you will likely believe anything, you will likely believe any spirit, believe heresy, you will likely be doing yourself harm than good. You might even die. Some Christians they've gone to a location where they say, where they are rejected, don't preach the gospel. They stubbornly stay there and preach, and they die. And people will say they have died for the gospel. No, they die ignorantly. Some Christians, when they are confronted with sickness, they will say, God is testing me or trying me. It's not God. That is Satan. Instead of, because they don't know the word of God and say they are healed, they are set free, they can't be sick. They have the living bread or the healing water in them, the bread of life. They just believe and accept. As a result, they might even die. So that is why it's good to read the word of God, to be mature in the things of God. Christ has said, go and preach. But there's a need for you to be mature before you preach the gospel. Thank you for today.